He had just stepped off the battlefield, a hero among heroes, but no one at the airport would have known. Dressed in his uniform, Michael boarded his flight, ready to finally see his family after months of deployment. He had earned this moment, a first-class ticket as a token of his sacrifices. But what should have been a peaceful journey home took an unexpected turn. At 300 feet, as he settled into his seat, a woman across the aisle fixed her eyes on him, her expression a mix of disbelief and disdain. Within moments, the silence of the cabin was broken by a confrontation no one had anticipated. The question wasn't whether Michael belonged there, his ticket proved that, but why his presence seemed to shake her so deeply. What neither of them knew was that someone else, sitting just a few rows behind, was watching. And what happened next would ignite a chain of events that no one on that flight could have predicted. A story of prejudice, resilience, and the undeniable power of grace under fire. This is not just a tale about a flight. It's a reflection of the world we live in and the remarkable ways one moment can change everything. Stay with us. The story is just beginning. Michael moved through the crowded airport, his uniform drawing quiet stares from some and nods of respect from others. Each step felt heavier than the last as he thought about the months he had spent away, the sacrifices made, and the moments with his family he could never get back. But today was different. Today was about going home. As he approached the gate, he clutched the first-class ticket in his hand, a small reward for the endless days and nights of duty. Boarding the plane, he was met with the warm smiles of flight attendants and the faint hum of conversations from passengers settling into their seats. He found his place in first class, finally allowing himself a moment to breathe. But the moment didn't last. Across the aisle, a woman in her late 50s glanced at him, her expression quickly souring. She leaned over to inspect his uniform and then, with a pointed tone, demanded to see his ticket. Michael, calm and unwavering, handed it over. Karen, as the cabinet would come to know her, didn't stop there. She openly questioned how someone like him could afford such a seat, her words carrying assumptions she didn't bother to hide. The flight attendant quickly intervened, verifying Michael's rightful place in first class. But Karen wasn't satisfied. Her hostility lingered in the air, drawing quiet murmurs from nearby passengers. Through it all, Michael remained composed, his silence louder than her accusations. Yet, just a few rows back, another passenger was watching closely. John, a businessman known for his quiet philanthropy, observed the entire exchange. The tension, the unspoken prejudices, and Michael's unshakable resolve didn't escape him. For John, it wasn't just an incident. It was a mirror to the world's flaws. And as the plane ascended into the clouds, John knew he couldn't just sit idly by. But he waited. Timing was everything, and his decision to act would come when it mattered most. As the plane landed and passengers began gathering their belongings, Michael prepared to step back into the world he had been away from for so long. But just before he could leave the cabin, a man approached him. It was John, the quiet observer from earlier. Extending a hand, John introduced himself and offered words of admiration. He praised Michael's unwavering composure during the ordeal, recognizing the strength it took to rise above such hostility. John wasn't just offering gratitude, he had an opportunity in mind. He explained his work with a charity organization dedicated to supporting veterans and minority-owned businesses. It was more than a chance to make a living, it was a chance to create change. John invited Michael to meet with his team, promising that his leadership and story could inspire others. Michael hesitated for only a moment before agreeing to consider the offer. Their handshake marked the start of something neither man could have anticipated. But while Michael and John were quietly planning their next steps, the world outside the plane was already buzzing. A passenger seated a few rows back had recorded the entire confrontation. The video, raw and unfiltered, found its way online within hours. It didn't take long for it to catch fire. Karen's words and actions were dissected by millions, sparking outrage and an overwhelming wave of support for Michael. The hashtag #FirstClassRacism trended across platforms, forcing Karen into an unrelenting spotlight. Soon her identity was uncovered, and the backlash extended beyond social media. Karen's employer issued a public statement condemning her behavior and announced her immediate dismissal. Friends and acquaintances distanced themselves, and her once protectable life unraveled under the weight of public scrutiny. In a desperate attempt to salvage her reputation, Karen agreed to a televised interview. She portrayed herself as misunderstood, claiming her actions were misinterpreted. But the public wasn't buying it. The damage was done, and her pleas for sympathy fell on deaf ears. What had started as a quiet moment on a flight had become a global reckoning, a reminder of the strength it takes to endure injustice and the power of collective accountability. Michael's partnership with John's charity quickly grew into a powerful movement. Together, they launched a nationwide anti-discrimination campaign that resonated far beyond their initial audience. Michael became the face of the initiative, embodying resilience and grace in the face of adversity. His speeches, filled with personal stories and calls for change, captivated audiences and sparked conversations in schools, workplaces, and communities. The campaign didn't just focus on the pain of prejudice, but emphasized the importance of respect, understanding, and the courage to confront societal divides. Michael's calm yet powerful voice became a symbol of hope, earning him national attention. Invitations to speak at major conferences and events poured in, and his influence only grew as he continued to inspire others to reflect and act. Meanwhile, Karen's life had taken an unexpected turn. Emily Roberts, her former employer, reached out with an unusual proposal. Rather than cutting ties completely, Emily suggested Karen enroll in a diversity education program. It was a challenging offer, one that required humility and a willingness to confront her own biases. At first, Karen hesitated, but as the public pressure mounted, she reluctantly agreed, stepping into a world she had long ignored. The program pushed Karen to face uncomfortable truths about her behavior and the impact of her actions. It wasn't easy, but slowly, she began to understand. As part of her journey, Karen reached out to Michael. Their meeting was tense at first, filled with the weight of unspoken apologies and shared experiences. But when Karen finally expressed her regret, Michael chose to extend the same grace he had shown on the plane. In a surprising turn, they began working together, leading diversity training sessions that drew on their shared history. Their collaboration sent a powerful message that growth and redemption are possible, even in the wake of profound mistakes. Together, they showed the world that while prejudice can divide, understanding and accountability can pave the way for unity. The story of Michael and Karen became a catalyst for deeper conversations about race, privilege, and inclusion. Their journey captured the nation's attention, serving as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. Together, they shared their experiences on stages across the country, encouraging audiences to examine their own biases and embrace the power of empathy and transformation. Michael's composure and resilience in the face of discrimination turned him into a symbol of grace under pressure. Karen, once the source of controversy, embraced her newfound role as an advocate for change, demonstrating that growth is possible when accountability meets humility. Their message, rooted in personal growth and shared understanding, resonated far beyond the moments captured on that fateful flight. As Michael reflected on his journey, from a decorated soldier to a victim of prejudice, and now a leader in the fight for inclusivity, he found purpose in the unexpected path his life had taken. Karen, too, acknowledged her transformation, recognizing that her misstep had led her to a greater understanding of the world and her place within it. Their collaboration inspired countless others to confront their biases and strive for a more inclusive future. It was a story of redemption, resilience, and the unyielding belief that even the darkest moments can spark the brightest change. As their journey continued, they left behind a message of hope and a commitment to building a more compassionate society. Their story didn't just end. It became a movement, challenging each of us to reflect, grow, and act. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more stories that drive meaningful change.